Okay, should be okay. The recording should have started. Then, as I said, welcome everyone. Welcome for this primary market consultation of Grenoble-Alpes Métropole. My name is Matteo Satta. I'm the scientific coordinator of Climaborough that I will shortly introduce at the beginning of this session. Now, I started with the annoying announcement that are at the beginning that are related to other procedure that I'm obliged to do. The first one was about the names. The second one is just to remind you that this is a legal procedure related to a call for tender that will be published later this year. The most important is that you know that everything happening here will be published on our website, then the recording of this session, the list of participants, all the slides will be published and made available on our website. Then being here, you accept any privacy, let's say, issue related to this. You acknowledge that we can publish it. As I see, just a moment to admit everyone. And also for the new ones that just connected to make sure that you, with another one. Again, for everyone, also the ones that are just connecting to make sure that you have your first and last name made very clear here on Zoom. For the ones that don't know, you just go on your image, you have three dots upright, on the upright, and you just have to make rename, and you will be able to rename yourself. Now, said that, I think that we can start and move on to the core of this session today. That will be, and I'll share my screen to just, if my screen works. Okay, yeah, it does. Okay. Sure. Screen. Here you go. I hope that you see my screen. Do you?
Yes.
Are you seeing my screen? Anyone can confirm?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Now, starting about what will be happening today, I'm doing the welcome and I'll be moving on to a short presentation of Climaborough, which is the project to give you the context. Then we will be moving to listen from Grenoble-Alpes Métropole about their challenge. Then we will have a Q&A session. Some of you requested, or at least one company, I think, requested to make a short presentation. This is possible in case, and it's in particular you will be able to ask any questions to the team of Grenoble Metropole that is here in a number of people. Then we will have the presentation of a public procurement process that encloses the challenge of Grenoble that will be made by my colleague Francesco Molinari that is here with us. You see, it's the other one with the black Climaborough background, and then it will be possible again to ask questions about this process, and eventually, if something comes up, also other questions to Grenoble, and then we will be closing. Here, the program is 2 hours and a half. Our experience says that this is a cautious, say, planning. Often it can be a bit quicker than that, but we will see. Experience will tell us how it will be working in Grenoble this time. Now, just to give you a short introduction of Climaborough, as I said, I'm the scientific coordinator of Climaborough, but in particular, the most important is that I represent the coordinator of this project, which is �y'𝐡𝐚𝐭 Toscana. �y'𝐡𝐚𝐭 Toscana, for the ones that are not Italian, and here I don't see many, it's the associations of cities of Tuscany. Okay, then we represent something not far away from, it's around 250, 280 cities. Now, Talking about the project in just to really give you an overview, as I said, we are coordinating the 𝐂𝐡𝐚𝐭 project. The project is part of the 100 climate neutral and smart cities mission that is divided in two. For the ones that don't know, one part is about selecting cities that work on their engagements around climate neutrality and developing projects around this, but local projects mostly, and there are 112. And then we have another strand that is related to projects that involve cities, and these involvement of cities that are not part of the mission, or at least they're not obliged to be part of the mission, even if Grenoble-Alpes Métropole is one of the mission cities and they are also with us, but that's how it is. We have it's a quite complex, ambitious project that has a number of very high level competencies on everything. You see, let's say, on the first two lines above our research, IT, climate neutrality, climate change experts. Then we have below, you see our cities experts, and then we see all our cities with their agencies. We have in total 14 cities you see on the table. They are divided into hubs that I will explain in a few seconds, but in particular we have then cities that are very diverse, and they're mostly divided in three uh, categories. We have leader cities. They are the ones that already did this process and are today developing that. We have some follower cities and we have some observer cities. Now, to explain, you see Grenoble, an example here, both in Hub 1 and 2. In one as leader, in the other as follower, because this is the scheme of the project. The scheme of the project wants that we have tried to find a way of structuring cities around the development experimentations, taking into consideration that at the end we will be having in total 11 cities making experimental activities on the ground and deploying everything at the same time. In this moment, we have 8 cities that are deploying solutions in parallel. These request quite some structuring. In our case, we divided them by theme into themes. One is more energy and mobility. The other one is waste and circularity. Why this? Because we consider that a mobility project is very, very different from a waste one. I mean, waste and circularity are a particular theme. And today, by the way, we talk about waste and circularity, and you will see that this can be interesting. But it's particularly interesting. And then in this scheme, every group is led by a city specialist that we call city engines. We call them like this. It's Urban Lab Torino for the first one, and it's Energy Cities for the second one. And in every hub has leaders and followers. Leaders are the cities that you've seen in my previous slide. Followers are what we call pure followers, cities that really have nothing to do with leading in the first round, but some others, like Grenoble-Alpes Métropole today, are leader in one and follower in the other one, meaning that they have gone for what was maybe easier for them, and then they move now, or in which they were leading more in our project, and today they are inspiring themselves from also what has been done by other cities. Then to go just on the vision of the project very quickly, the idea is that as we today we talk about the circularity, our approach is more circularity at a higher level, saying that today we don't lack technology, we lack use of technology, the right use of technology better, and we have often the local authorities that I remind you are the ones that deploy often the policies that are often defined at higher level. And they lack often to find on the market something. And today you will see it's very true. They find, and at the same time, cities often struggle also to induce behavioral change in the citizens, but it's related also to the technology and use of technology gap that we have today. Then what we want to do is to make sure that cities can somehow act as glue between the market and the users of the solutions. And then going for the objectives that are already somehow defined in some cases, our idea is to support the mission, helping the cities that are part of our project to align more and more with that mission. With some, it's easier because they are already part of the mission, but with others, it's also helping them to somehow move towards it. Then we want to define also business models between the private and public sector. That's what I was saying, like the cities acting as glue. That's important because today we see a real issue between in meeting public and private sector. It's very, very complex. Then we want to define communities of cities and related stakeholders, both at local and European level. And at the end, we want to support cities in being more efficient in defining and evaluating their pilots, experimentations on the ground, and also supporting them when they work in the following process, which is scaling up, and let's say in some cases also supporting other cities to replicate. But this is very technical, and today it's very difficult, and it's something that doesn't really exist at European and I think international level. And then to move on to the final slide for me, it's about explaining just how cities see the process. This is the process of a leader city as we imagined at the beginning. Then they just define they define their challenge and they understand their need and define it. This is what we somehow call a draft challenge. It goes into innovative procurement today, and Francesco will explain this better than me. The challenge gets into the procurement, and the first step of the procurement is this preliminary market consultation, in which this draft is somehow that's something to improve this process, improve the challenge, and making sure that for the call for tender will be more efficient. Once done the call for tender, solutions are defined and selected. In this case, we will have 5 cities and hopefully 10 solutions, and they go towards the solutions deployment, carbon footprint evaluation, and then the mentoring, in which leader city supports other cities for replicating. But experience told us that we have a double replication here. We have a replication of the process. That's the one that we're seeing now. That means that after the first innovative procurement and the start of the solution deployments, followers start the innovative procurement. And then the first 2 steps, let's say, that's what's happening. We're now in the step 2. And then why there is this step 1 and 2 going on in follower cities, step 3 and 4 move on in leader cities. At the end, it then means that when the followers will be starting the deployment of their solutions, they will have all the lessons learned of the leaders to make sure that on step 3 and 4 they will be following. And then we will go for the replication by product, which is the second replication. It's the one in which we will have 25, hopefully 25 solutions all over Europe at the end of the project, making sure how do we valorize them, how do we help them moving the next step, and our cities adopting them, doing so too. Now, I'm done with this. Just a short final information. For the call for tender, we'll be using a lot LinkedIn and our newsletter to communicate with all interested parties. Then make sure that if you go on our website that you see on my slide here, you just go on our website, you will have an annoying pop-up coming up and saying, subscribe to our newsletter. Then it shouldn't be difficult. And for LinkedIn, you find us quite easily on LinkedIn with the tag Climaborough. Now, said that, I think that it's better that we move to serious things and then to what I think that most of you want to hear today, and then the challenge of Grenoble-Alpes Métropole. Then I guess that I will be leaving the floor to Laurent Delatte, if I'm not wrong. Then Laurent, floor is yours. If you can just share your slides, otherwise we can.
That's okay. I will partager l'écran, I think.
You should have a
Tac, tac, tac.
a green kind of green box with an arrow in it. Yeah, here we go. Floor is yours.
Non, pas en mode trans. What do you...
We see the screen, you just need to put it on full screen.
On full screen, that's okay? Okay.
Yeah, normally full screen should work.
Diaporama. Okay.
Here we go, perfect. Go ahead.
So, hi everybody. I'm Laurent Delatte from Grenoble-Alpes Métropole. For the Metropole, Grenoble-Alpes Métropole greater area, I'm in charge of what we call sustainable digital development. And I will present you our challenge, the main issues we have to cope with regarding sustainable development, sustainable consumption, and in fact, the extension of the life of electric plants. And we want to do this through the extension, development of the reuse of the equipment. So if we have to go in more details, there is which is actually now there will be a new evaluation in a few weeks, but that's the results for 2022. It is the IT footprint of a public servant. So it's each public servant as its footprint, as is for energy, for CO2, naturally, for water, and for mining. You can see there are a lot of impacts actually. It's each year the impact of one public servant in France. If we tend to defocus and to have a more broader view of the issues, we know that digital technology is around 4% of greenhouse gas emissions in the world. Actually, it's quite a number which is around 3 or 4 years ago. It's more about 5 or 6% today. And also more, there are trajectories, there are trends that are not compatible with world limits as we know them for now. And in France, at least, because there is electric energy is quite decarbonized. In France, equipment accounts for nearly 70–80% of the overall impact of digital consumption. So there is and it's a fact, and for regarding greenhouse gas emission, naturally, But if you see the extraction pressure and water, they are also very worrying, and they are how I can say they are growing faster even than the greenhouse gas emission. So for us, extending the lifespan of digital equipment is a major issue in France and all over the world. There is some news regarding these issues. Is that the law now requires the local state, the national state, requires that local authorities, which are over 50,000 inhabitants, they have to purchase at least 20% of reused equipment. And the problem is that the sector is not yet structured to cope with the volumes we requested. So there are today public tenders for reused digital equipment, and these public tenders have a lot of them can go full because there is no offer. There is no offer to meet the demand we are addressing the market. So it's very complicated for us. And there are also some lack of equipment for regarding associations needs, because associations seeking to provide equipment to people in what we call the digital divide are also overwhelmed by the surge in demand since 3 or 4 years. The COVID was certainly some kind of time of a big change regarding the lack of available equipment and the surge in price in tariffs too. And so people in France are less and less able to buy equipment for their own needs. So if we see what are the main challenges we have to face. First, there is a lack of coordination among the players, the companies, which are in the reuse sector, and with some consequences, which are the inability to meet the volume of the demand, to meet the offer. There are also issues regarding the quality and the price of these refurbished equipment. And finally, more from an IT manager point of view, IT managers are looking for some kind of homogeneity in the IT pools, and because it's easier to maintain these pools and to create these pools, but due to his lack of coordination, it's very difficult to have the same equipment, same brands and models and so on. There are also a lack of predictability regarding the availability of all these digital equipment at a territorial level and even at a more broad level. It's more an opportunity process, an opportunist process today. The brokers, the one who are able to operate and to sell these reused equipment are often taken by surprise by the arrival of new equipment on the market. There is an absence of clear and shared standards between all the players regarding the way they are able to pick up to select and to give an orientation to their products, and also all the process from the collection of these equipments after they are out of use regarding an IT manager at least, and the selling process. So yes, there is an absence of clear and shared standards, and also there is difficulties in offering a comprehensive and secure solution for IT managers. IT managers are, at least that's what they tell us. They are ready to have more virtuous behaviors regarding the buy of electronic equipment, but they also their main and their first interest and focus is to have secure solutions and to satisfy their customers, which are the collaborators, the employees of public or private companies. There is also a lack of traceability. Each player has its own way, its own IT system for processing all the other procedures for processing the equipment, and so they are often not interoperable between them, and so it's very difficult to have a very precise view of which equipment has passed through which hands, and to undergo one task or another. And naturally, and it's the last but not least, I often say, there are also behavioral and cultural resistance and social desirability. Naturally, today, people are often willing to have the last model, the last smartphone, the last PC, the last one. Yes, and it's also for employers a way to recognize the work of their employees, and so it's difficult to make changes regarding and the dotation of equipment. Which are the main opportunities? First, regarding the structural difficulties, misrepresentations, I told earlier. Major American equipment manufacturers today, and it's also in France the case from telecom operators. They place much greater emphasis on reuse in their communications. Since perhaps 2 years, you have, for example, when it's Christmas, ads in major TV channels, which promote the buy of reused equipment, which was not the case in the past. So, yes, there is a real concern from manufacturers and telecom operators regarding this fact. It's something which is quite interesting from Grenoble point of view. All the players in the reuse sector, when I say all the players which are very important regarding all the value chain are present in the region, which is interesting because you can work with them on a local and circular approach regarding the reuse of equipment. But there are certainly and there will be some coexistence, some of more national networks and more local networks to meet the demand. There is also some kind of dynamic, of local dynamic in Grenoble for several months or even for several years, at least 1 or 2. The players in the employment in the reuse sector have been a lot of meeting within the Pole Air, which is a site dedicated to circular economy, to reuse. And now for a few weeks, because it's quite new, there are meeting also within the framework of the circular economy network, which is called 𝐶𝐴. And it's also we see also that the private sector, let's say, is also concerned. There are more and more small awareness raising events for employers in the company, in professional, let's say, environment, but also for the general public. And finally, there is also one initiative which is called the Local Economic Pact, which brings together the region's major employers around CSR issues, and which is also concerned about a circular economy and about reuse, and which can be some kind of leverage for those the reuse from a reuse point of view. So as for data, it's quite perhaps the more difficult thing to address. There are not so much data on reuse equipment. We have some numbers, but they are not quite about the reuse. They are more about the equipment which are not reused, which are actually dismantled. But we have a few numbers regarding the equipment which are bright and the one which are dismantled. And we know there are a lot of information regarding the professional devices in the public or the private sector, because IT managers, IT directions have a lot of data which are produced either for assessing the assets of a company, of a local authority. So it's more from an accounting point of view. And there are also data which are produced by the tools that the IT managers use to operate their IT park and to manage them. So, but these data exist, but they are somehow private for now, and there is no consolidation at a local level. So there is a need to somehow interconnect these data and to consolidate them at a local level. Yes. Stakeholders. So there are a few for the experimentation, the market. We wanted to have some kind of field to address that we control, that we are with a big proximity. So we are now wanting to experience for at least Grenoble-Alpes Métropole itself, which means with the ville de Grenoble, the CCS, which are in the same, which are addressed by the same IT direction. In fact, it's around 8,000, I think, employees. So it's a lot of PCs and so on, of IT equipment. And there is also the university, the 𝐂𝐴, which is around 60,000 students and 20,000 searchers and teachers. So this there is a lot of work to do with these two players, let's say, and there are also other players which are quite near and with whom we have already talks around reuse equipment, which is the hospitals, the CHU, and big companies, as I said before, which are mainly under the Economic Local Pact, and, with whom we have talks around CSR issues. So IT managers and naturally the players themselves from the sector of reuse, the economic sector of reuse. So there is three steps: the collections of the equipment after they get out of IT parks and fleets. So the collection, the dismantling or upgrading of these equipments, and finally the sale and the distributions of these equipments. Some players are actually doing all the three are present, have an integrated offer covering these three steps, and some are present or are active regarding only one of them or two of them. And so there are also the end customers. So the end customer are organizations. Eventually the same as we saw in first step. So Grenoble-Alpes Métropole itself, the ville de Grenoble, the CCS, the universities, the hospital, big companies also. So there are organizations we can sell, but also buy electric equipment. There are individuals also, and as I say, there are among the individuals vulnerable populations are a main focus, a main concern regarding the difficulties to buy equipment, as I said before. It's a very cross-cutting issue for Grenoble-Alpes Métropole. A lot of directions are concerned by all the things I said. Naturally, the IT systems, the information systems department, but also people we are working on what we call the exemplary administration plan, which is how each public servant can contribute to local environmental transition. There are also things regarding public purchasing, circular economy, the way to have less waste and more qualified waste. There are also social and solidarity economy because there are a lot of players which are part of the a lot of players of the reuse sector which are part of the social and solidarity economy. And there are also issues regarding what we call the climate air energy plan, which is our master plan regarding local transition, and urban planning regarding the distribution of all these functions in an urban area. So what are we having in mind, at least, and I will be interested in what you have to say in order to see what can be perhaps more precise regarding the state of the art today. First, so regarding the objective, we have to, as Matteo said earlier, or it was Consultation, I don't know. It's not only about technology and about forwarding a platform. It's also about the animation of a network of stakeholders for promoting mutual understanding between them and recognition of their respective expectations. It's true regarding the link between IT managers and the reuse sector, and it's also true among the players of the reuse sector themselves. You have to, there is, as I said earlier, there is a lack of coordination and of standards today. So there is a need to co-design with these players of the reuse sector a solution allowing a better access to the IT sectors, IT assets of major accounts in the region. One of the objectives is also to facilitate from the point of view of the reuse stakeholders, but also of these major IT major accounts, the collection of equipment. After the collection of equipment, we will have to articulate the interventions of the stakeholders themselves concerned and ensure the traceability of equipment and of those interventions. And finally, we will have to ensure that the distribution of some of these equipments to end users, and particularly, we will have to ensure that the most vulnerable groups find the reused equipment they need they need. And so, what is the solution? What is the prototype of the solution about? First, it's about providing visibility into the IT parks of large accounts in the territory by consolidating data produced by international asset management and park management tools. So how can we know which equipment will be available by when, how old is it? Yes, how can we know what equipment is available and when for the reuse sector? And to assess also impacts, environmental impacts and environmental impacts of change in the behavior and in the way they manage their park and they are using reused equipment. It's also enabling the pooling of equipment collection from decommissioned parks. So how do we have some simple solutions, secure solutions for IT departments to address their needs and so in order to be able to have all the to collect these equipment, We main features is also facilitating coordination between the stakeholders. As I said, there are some steps. Some actors are covering all these, some not. So there will be a necessary coordination to make between the collections, the sorting, the resale, and eventually the provision for vulnerable groups, while answering traceability for large accounts. There are, for example, the necessity to give IT manager a proof of the fact that data of all the data have been well erased, and so it's about. It's perhaps not a main feature. It's perhaps more some kind of consequence of the work. The three last point I will pass through. So the development of a platform itself is for this development, the adoption of common standards and frameworks is mandatory. So there will be some kind of co-design with the actors to have eventually some way for all the players to have a common approach. There is also a great need of traceability because traceability it's also the assessing of the impacts. And it's also a question of trust for IT managers regarding the actor of the reuse sector. So traceability and it's also about sharing data. As I said, there are some difficulties because some of these data are today private and not shared at a local level. And finally, all this is about also developing from the reuse actors point of view, at least, developing a more comprehensive offer to address these challenges more holistically. When you are in the reuse sector, you don't only sell some PCs or some smartphones. There are problems regarding the way you take in charge, for example, difficulties regarding this equipment, how the insurance also are addressed and so on. So
Okay.
it is not.
If I send you a link on WhatsApp, can you please check?
Just about sending. So that's okay. Yes. We are through the presentation.
Okay, thank you, Laurent. So I take also the occasion to everyone to make sure that you unmute, you mute yourself, not you unmute, you mute yourself when someone else is speaking because it's a bit annoying.
Yes.
No, it's not for you. It was for
Yes.
everyone else. And okay, then I think that it's now time in case anyone has questions for this nice and interesting presentation that Laurent did. there is any questions, anyone that maybe wants to dig into some of the points that Laurent raised, that there were a lot of nice and interesting things that often people don't talk much about, but it starts being the case to do so.
Maybe a question
Uh,
to Laurent, if you don't mind. You hear me correctly? It's okay?
yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
Then generally speaking, I ask everyone to raise your hand, and then I'll give you the floor. But in this case, you go, you
Ah,
can
okay.
go,
Okay,
Cyril, you can go, you can go.
Okay, so sorry about that. I'm Cyril Colamadan, so I'm from 𝐂𝐡𝐚𝐭, so we are also in Grenoble. Laurent, did you already identify who are the potential companies or who are the players, for example, in terms of reuse, or who they can be, or not yet?
As I said, for the first phase, at least, to have some leverage, we will address the main players, the main employers of the territory. The metropole itself, as I said, there are a few public players which are big employers, and also the companies, the private companies, which are today members of the local economic pact, and �ㄫ𝐚𝐿 is actually one of them. But yes, for us, it's the first. Our first targets are these big players because there will be big volumes, and today we need volumes. It's quite the biggest difficulty. Even from the heterogeneity of the IT equipments, which are finally available on the market. You need, if you have a more homogeneity in the collection phase, you will have also more homogeneity on the selling phase, let's say. So yes, it's for now, because we don't know also, we don't know how many IT tools exist for today, and when you work on something like that, there will be some kind of connectors between the IT tools or the asset management tools and the platform. And so for the development, you have also to have 1, 2, 3, 4 different IT system but for the start, at least, it will be interesting to not to have a more complicated issues to face. So yes, big public, because as I said, the public players have no choice. There is a law I mentioned earlier. Private companies are concerned. Some are really making efforts, but they have no obligation regarding the law. So for us, public entities, as long as they are obliged by the law, are our main target regarding the process.
And Laurent, in case you have ideas about the volume of equipment we are talking about, for example, I don't know, potential amount of PC, potential amount of mobile phone, potential amount of, I don't know what, server, or again, I don't know.
Yes.
Even if it's super preliminary or super rough.
Yes, it's very difficult. As I said, just from our point of view, it will be around perhaps for now. I think we are talking about 1,000, 2,000 reused equipment sold a year. I don't know. It will be. This evaluation should be a part of the co-design process.
Part of the start.
I mentioned earlier, but I think for now it's around 1,000, 2,000 equipment a year, not dismantled, reused.
Yeah, the result, the target result.
Yes. And the reused is perhaps well, it depends on the quality of the collection, but I don't know. There are some players here which are really specialists regarding, but I think it's 1/3 perhaps of all the equipment you have to collect.
Okay, clear. Thank you, super clear. Thank you, Laurent.
Okay, thank you. Okay, there is any other questions? I don't see any raised hand. Okay. Okay, there is Francesco. Francesco, go
Yes,
ahead.
I think we need another round before moving to the next phase. So I will try to make some questions to Laurent. I apologize in advance because we didn't agree on the questions. So pardon me if I make the wrong questions, but I'm trying to make your scenario a bit more clearer for the sake of the procedure we are talking about. So first comment I have, it is a tremendous issue, and I agree with what you said. Now there is also this piece of legislation that is forcing public authorities to find a way. So it is really timely, and I like this idea very much. But in this procedure, in today's event, the approach, hopefully, should not be making more and more questions to you, Laurent, on the definition of the scenario. Quite the opposite. It would be, and correct me if I'm wrong, Laurent, it would be exciting if some of the participants in this meeting today could share their own ideas on the way this problem might be approached. Because the problem is so new, so urgent, so important, and on the other hand, nobody has ever thought about that before, that it is really a challenge to transform the description of today's scenario into specifications for a call for tender. So paradoxically, in this procurement exercise, which we aim to launch in 2-3 months, we are under the risk of choosing the wrong approach. leading to a second best solution in the worst case. So it would be great if other participants in today's meeting started breaking the ice and making descriptions of the way they see the issue. To facilitate this breaking of the ice, I am making 2 or 3 quick questions to you, Laurent, just to see whether I got it right, and so also the other participants got it right. First of all, I assume there is no previous experience, no previous project, no previous attempt at solving this issue. It would be great if in the future we could find those previous projects if they exist, or it could be something that comes from our participants. That is the first point. Second point, and then I need to stop and listen to your answer, because first question you nodded, so I got it that there is nothing that already exists. But the next, I must stop after making the question. What is your intuition of the experimentation that you might accept doing? It is a bit tricky for the reasons I explained before. We are still struggling to find a direction. But if that direction could be found, what would be your vision of an experiment? Also, limited scale experiment because of the budget restrictions in this call. Would it be that we select, for example, a unit in your department or the entire department? We monitor the situation for a more or less long time. We approach the sellers of the IT equipment that we would like to substitute. What is your loose vision of how this experiment might be designed? And I stop now.
I think so. I don't know at the new European level if there are already experimentations regarding these issues. We talked with Torino during the first phase, which is a leader cities regarding these issues. The fact is that the starting point are not quite the same, and the situation is quite different. It seems that French framework regarding electronic equipment is in advance. I don't, but there are some kind of structuration of at least as I said earlier. So there are some things which are quite new for 2, 3, 4 years, but which are running at a local level. Regarding the consolidation of all the players, and as I said, it's more about today sharing the same networks, having an animation at a local level for them. I think our problem is today the one of industrialization of these processes, of these links, which can perhaps which are already taking place here. So I don't know exactly what the solution will be. I think one of its components will be some kind of platform to share datas, to share and also to operate the links between, as I said, the IT managers, the reuse sector, and the one who can finally be some benefactors of the equipment themselves. So it's not some kind of e-commerce platform, because there are a lot of this kind, and we will perhaps have to even connect or with this platform, this existing platform from the players today. It's more some kind of hub where players, IT managers, and reuse actors, players can meet and share their datas and their needs also. And there are a few experimentations in France. Grenoble was we are struggling over these issues for perhaps 15 years. And I know also experimentations in Bordeaux, Bordeaux Métropole. I knew there is some kind of des ateliers du bocage which is working with Orange, which is also a major player regarding this volume and consolidation issues. But as I say, for me, we need some kind of platform, of hub to consolidate and share data, and to have more some kind of flow between all players and stakeholders at a local level. I don't know if it's clear, Francesco, regarding the question.
Sorry, I couldn't find the unmute button. Yes, for me, it is clear. It is very important what you said as last sentences. I would appreciate if someone participating in this meeting would raise their hands and share their opinion on this idea. Basically, what I got it from your words, Laurent, is that you are thinking of a platform, an IT platform, aggregating demand and supply for this kind of used equipment, and creating mechanisms for maybe a good number of public sector entities sharing the same issue to become clients of that platform. So it could be something we experiment, but after the experimentation, we may have the opportunity to become stable, no? In the context of Grenoble, if not at a broader level. When I made the question on the existing experiences, I was meaning exactly in your area. Now I know that, I know from your words that there are other experiences in France which it may be worth exploring. Luckily, most of the participants in this meeting are also French, according to their names, so they can also use that as a source of information. But basically, this idea should land, in your opinion, into the prototype of a platform. Is this what you are saying, Laurent?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Knowing that a platform, from my point of view, is some kind of technological hub, but it's also a network of players willing to work together. So platform is, yes, there is a technology. It's a tool, but it's also a network, and it's also players for me. There are two sides regarding a platform. So I think for the solution to work, you will have, there will be some need for a technological tool, some IT tool to share data, but there will also be a need for animation to ensure that these tools are really used and that each player appropriate them.
Okay, thank you, Laurent. Thank you, Francesco. I see that in the chat it was put also a link of a potential example. Now, as we are getting over schedule, I think a good idea could be maybe, Francesco, you make your presentation and there is another Q&A session following it to allow also the participants maybe to think of all that was said and maybe connecting to what you will be saying. And because for now I don't see hands, then probably the challenge is a real challenge. That makes sense. But and I think it's also a wonderful example on how from national European level comes often directives that the local authorities need to take, but the market is not ready to take them, which makes them a bit ineffective and unproductive. Now, Francesco, I don't know. I guess that you are agreeing and you're looking for your slides, I guess, looking at your face. Laurent, can you just stop sharing your screen?
Sorry.
No, don't worry. I mean, that's just my job. Don't worry, I'm not doing it. Because I tried to do it for you, but I couldn't.
Arrêtez. Okay, that's okay.
Here we go. Okay, in any case, thank you, Laurent, for all these informations. That will be for sure precious for the months to come. And Francesco will tell us what is coming. Just Laurent, I'll just mute you because
Matteo, do you have my slides? I cannot access to the server in this moment. I don't know why. I didn't save them in local. Meanwhile, I made it, so it is now solved. So I can share myself.
Okay. Sorry, I was talking, but I was muted. Sorry.
My apologies. I don't know why it was
Oh,
not.
that's fine, Francesco. Okay.
So this is it, and I hope you can see me changing the slides.
Yeah, Francesco, it's all good. It's all good.
Okay, okay. So I will do my, say, 20 minutes, and then there will be, like you said, room for further questions. My task is to reconnect today's event with what will happen in the future. This event is named Preliminary Market Consultation, and as the word says, incidentally, the name comes from the European legislation on procurement. The purpose is to get information more than give information to the invited stakeholders. We are especially interested in knowing if there are existing near-to-market prototypes or products and services, thanks to the participant who put the link to the Romanian case, that can be replicated or adopted in this context. The results of this of today's discussion, and also, as I will mention, there is a deadline until the 10th of February to receive written contributions. We will take stock of all these aspects and documentation when we design the call for tender, which is following to this event. We expect to publish the call for tender in a couple of months from now, and it is already known that the first deadline will be around end of April or beginning of May, only for the accreditation of the participants. So we are not thinking of something that puts pressure on your schedules. For the coming months, if the solutions that partly exist, so to speak, need to be adapted, you will have time, not only until April, but also afterwards, as soon as we finalize the verification of the credentials of those who ask to be invited, we will invite them all to submit a proposal, and the proposal will then be discussed and reevaluated. You will have time to reevaluate it again. So we are not in a rush. We want to be effective, but indeed we have some limitations, and I will mention some of them in this slide and in the remaining, in the next one. The call we are talking about will have an approximate budget for the city of Grenoble of 240,000 euros plus VAT, aiming to reward two distinct and independent solution providers. Independent means that there must be no connection between the two entities or groups of entities. We accept consortia as well as individual economic operators. There is therefore the opportunity, which is justified by the situation, I believe, of considering two distinct prototypes of platforms, the way Laurent was calling them, that can help solve the needs and the requirements of the city of Grenoble-Alpes Métropole as main stakeholder of this call. The deadline of end April, like I said, will only be for candidatures. We will ask you for a minimum amount of information, basically to assess whether you are already operating in this business or not. And in any case, we will keep all the received information confidential Same goes for the information that, as I mentioned, until the 10th of February, you may want to share with us, which is protected by, for example, registered patents. Another comment which is relevant to mention is that the call will involve other 4 European cities. 3 of them have already celebrated their own preliminary market consultation. Tomorrow we will have the last one, which is Pilsen, but every city will have a separate budget. So 240,000 will be the amount for the city of Grenoble, identical amounts for the other cities having different challenges, although in some cases there can be some overlaps. And therefore I encourage you to get registered until tomorrow morning in the Pilsen preliminary market consultation, or check on our project website, Climaborough.eu, for the proceedings of the previous 3, and also shortly of today's preliminary market consultation event. We will publish the recording, and we will also publish all received information until the 10th of February, unless you specify that there is something to be protected because it is part of your own intellectual property rights. I said there is openness and we want to be inclusive, but there are also constraints. And the list of constraints we can expect to introduce in the call for tender are listed here. First of all, we expect proposals staying within the perimeter of the challenge posed by Grenoble-Alpes Métropole. Second, we are looking for solutions that are not purely technological. Very appropriately, Laurent showed in one slide the list of stakeholders that are probably relevant to invite or to involve. And this list can also be partial at the moment because we didn't have the time of thinking deeply, but it will certainly be an asset for your proposal if you can document the capacity of engage some or all of those stakeholders in concrete terms. Then, like I mentioned, the budget is tiny, so there can be an issue with the cost of the solution. Bear that in mind. On the other hand, based on the small-scale experimentation, it was already anticipated that Grenoble-Alpes Métropole would be interested in furthering the development of that solution, which must therefore be scalable, whatever the term means in this context, and also, hopefully, transferable to other cities, sharing similar issue, starting from France, but without any hesitation, going also across the borders at the broad European level, as we are sharing an issue that is obviously not limited to the French context. So the next steps will be today for the remaining part of the discussion time. If there are further questions for myself and especially for Laurent, we will be happy to answer today. In some cases, we have also given the floor to participants willing to present their own existing solutions. This is still possible. Everything is being recorded and will be published on our website, Climaborough.eu, including the received contributions, written contributions until the 10th of February. There is a template for that, which you can download from, again, our website in the dedicated section to this consultation. Indicatively, by mid-March, we expect to be ready with the call for tender. And probably by July or August, you will have, you will be invited to submit a proposal, a technical proposal only. Why a technical proposal only without the indication of a price? Because as a further allowance in this procedure, every received proposal will be discussed bilaterally, and in this case with full protection for confidentiality, with the proposers themselves and at the presence of the representatives of Grenoble-Alpes Métropole, who will be enabled to give their first impression on the contents of the received proposal and suggest ways for improving it, only under a technical point of view. And suggestions can also include the removal of some aspects of the proposal which may not be suitable because of a bad interpretation of the requirements formulated in the city, and so can also be an advantage for the cost of developing the solution, in that case, lowered in correspondence. After the first negotiation, as we call formally, but also formally, according to give the chance to resubmit and buy this time by a price. And full procedure, including the evaluation of received proposals, technical and financial, will indicatively be finished by the end of the year. The signature of the contract, as our scientific coordinator Matteo said, and therefore expected winners per city, 10 contracts to be signed. The legal framework is described by the European Directive of Public Procurement, which is also adopted in all the member states. In Italy, we will use the European and the Italian. Is based in Italy, of course. You can check the first link, including the FAQs, not only for this event, but also for the previous events, the events we organized during January this year, and also the events organized in July last year on the occasion of a previous experiment of the same kind. All these FAQs are still valid, otherwise we would have dropped them, and can help you understand more on what I said and also on what is going to happen. The prior information notice of this procedure can be downloaded from the link, the second link displayed, including the description of the so-called challenges for the remaining 4 cities. So basically, where do we stand now? We listened to the presentation from Laurent describing the priorities of this aspect of climate policy in the city, and we are now trying to land towards the definition of a challenge which will be used in the innovative procurement experiment, going beyond today's preliminary market consultation and inputs we will be hopefully receiving from you until the 10th of February. Everything will land into the definition of the requirements for the Innovation Partnership call, which will be published, like I said, towards mid-March. What kind of solutions are we looking for? We don't know, and we will be open. But in any case, as this picture shows, there are indeed 3 aspects to be considered, and maybe also we can come back to these 3 aspects in the question time. First has to do with data. What are the data sets that already exist Is there an urgent need to create data sets that don't exist yet? So it could be on the shoulders of the proposers, or it could be because in the meantime, while defining the target of the call for tender, Grenoble-Alpes Métropole will have identified some existing data sets, or it can be the merge of these two. On the role of people, I already spoke. For me, the question is whether we should simply invite people, or better, organizations join the platform, or maybe in the proposal there should be also initiatives to animate, to promote participation, to do small-sized experimentations, demonstrating the full cycle from the release of the used equipment by a certain public entity up to the purchase from the new entity interested in buying. So this is, again, open, and it will be part of the evaluation for sure. And finally, technologies. There are technological aspects that are manifold, which can be relevant or not. One can be gamification, but it's not sure. Another could be interoperability with some existing services or technologies already in use by the city of Grenoble. I don't know. There could be aspects related to legislation and even ethics, which might require temporarily lifting some constraints from existing legislation, such as in the case of the so-called sandbox environment. All these are open aspects on which we expect to receive suggestions from you. And finally, I'm concluding the description of the call by reiterating what I said earlier about the process of evaluation, which after the initial accreditation of the candidatures will generate a collection of bids, of technical offers, which are negotiated bilaterally without the others knowing about the outcome of each negotiation, at the presence of representatives of the city of Grenoble. And then there will be the evaluation, the proper evaluation of the combination between revised technical offer and price, leading to the award of at least 2 winners, ranking being done according to the usual meet principle, most economically advantageous tender, or the ratio between quality and price. There will be the preliminary market consultation in the city of Pilsen, structured like today's. The topic will be about sustainable transport options in the surroundings of schools in the city. 𝐂𝐡𝐚𝐭, still in France, they already had a consultation talking about the issue of letting people participate more numerous than before in local initiatives aiming at zero carbon or the reduction of carbon footprint for the population. The other remaining 2 events have already been organized, one in Prijedor and one in Sofia. Both of them, Prijedor in Bosnia and Herzegovina, Sofia in Bulgaria, in different ways, they approach related topics to today's discussion in terms of platforms or other solutions that monitor, in one case, the global management of waste in the city, and especially segregation of waste in the city of Prijedor, and in the other case, aspects of circular economy and recycling, which are peculiar of the planning and programming from the city of Sofia. I am done. I hope not to have been too long, and I hope to have ignited further questions. So I pass the floor back to Matteo for the remaining part of today's event. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Francesco. Thank you very much. It was very clear to me, but maybe I'm a bit biased because I know the procedure. Then I would open the floor to any questions about this presentation, but also about the previous one in case you want to say something about the challenge of, or ask something more, ask or say something about the challenge of Grenoble, of, as Francesco said, any ideas, existing solutions, and so on that can be existing on the floor. Then I follow. I don't see any questions. I don't see any questions. Then I want also to recall, also because some people left, that everything will be published, and also the ones that maybe had to leave earlier will be able to consult this later on, and all the slides are, by the way, shared here. And then you will be able also to further make questions via email in case later on. Laurent, go ahead, Laurent.
Yeah, yes, just one thing Francesco said, but I have to stress this out because there is no, the amount of time is quite reduced. The first step by the 10th February to have reaction from all of you, to have testimonies, to have experience backups regarding similar challenges on and the way other territories have tried to cope with them is very, very important for us to more precisely define the challenge, and thereafter to have the procurement itself. So don't hesitate, all of you. It's not formal. It's perhaps 1/2 of page or even a link to an experience you want to share with us regarding the issues, the challenges around reuse and waste of electronic equipment. So don't hesitate. I know it's quite short, but it will be very useful for us to better define what we want, and according to what have already been done on what can be done.
Yes, thank you, Laurent. It was useful. Yeah, I want to reiterate this. That was well underlined by Laurent and Francesco. On our website, it's easy to download our proposal solution form that can be sent by February 10. Take into consideration it's a really easy document. It doesn't request, as Laurent was saying, to spend days to write. It's really not that. It's just informations. Normally, the ones sending this to us are often people just somehow making us aware of something that already somehow existing or could be existing shortly. Then pay attention, because this will support us in defining the call for tender, and obviously maybe integrating points that we didn't think about that can also later on represent also for you somehow it's a support. I mean, it can help you also in answering to our call for tender. Then make sure to everything, just to be very clear, everything is shared with us, will be shared with everyone. Will be published on our website because to make sure that we all that all participants to the call for tender have exactly the same information and competition is totally kept effective and transparent. It is very important. Obviously, if it's just a question, it will be included in our FAQ session, in FAQ section of our website that exists in the followers cities one. You will be also receiving an email confirming you when we have published everything on our website. It will be happening today or tomorrow. Okay, said that, do we have any questions? No, doesn't seem so. Okay, and then if it's the case, we can move to the wrap up and the conclusions that we somehow already did partially, at least, with these things. I don't know if Francesco, do you want to say something?
No, I don't think so. I concur on what Laurent said. It is very important, this deadline of the 10th of February. Should you be engaged on something else and should you need 2 days more, just contact us, provided we can rely on your feedback. This is perfectly legal because there is no call for tender yet. We haven't yet started to write. So all the informal interactions and even the formal ones are only subject to the transparency requirement. So we will anyway publish whatever we receive from you, with the only exception of whatever falls under the protection of, for example, a patent or another element that demands business confidentiality. Apart from that, we will publish everything. This is our only requirement at the moment, but it would be great if, with your advice, we could interpret correctly the strategic direction that this call needs to take as far as the city of Grenoble is concerned.
Okay, thank you, Francesco. Okay, then from my side, I obviously thank everyone for the participation. I want to rehearse again. I mean, feel free to reach us or to send us the solution forms. As Francesco said, it's not mandatory, but it's very welcome because it can help. It can help having a more effective call for tender. The objective here is to make sure that cities have their solutions that support them in what they will be doing. As I said at the beginning, it's very important to make sure that the market starts supporting, or at least meeting more with local authorities. I think this is a great example. And then I want to also to stress how our experience in this project is showing us how the Western circularity theme is something that is becoming very urgent for cities. We've noticed a lot of, as you've seen, we have 5 followers, 3 are on waste and 2 are on the other feeds. That's probably due to the fact that some feeds are more mature or others are less, and Western circularity looks to need more work. Then I really invite you to also to check for the ones that are in this field, to check also the other cities. You find everything on our website. Participating, I think, is a potential very good experience for the solution providers that will be checking in. We're already seeing this in 8 cities. One is Grenoble-Alpes Métropole, and some of you, by the way, if I look at the names, may have something to do with that. Then really, this is really a kind request to support this process now, because it will allow you to be more into this when we will get to the real call for tender, because Francesco said we didn't publish the call for tender yet. It is important to say. Then, said that, at this point, I keep seeing no hands. Then I really thank all of you for the participation. And hopefully we will be in contact shortly. For sure, you will be receiving an email from Eventbrite telling you, giving you some of the links that we were talking about and making sure that you can access them easily, and you will be obviously access to, as I said, all the material of this session. Thank you very much for the participation again, and see you soon, hopefully.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.